I don't even see Spurs scoring. They have scored in all their recent games, but just look at that attack and it stinks, man. It really does stink.
So we are heading into game week 34 of the Premier League. There's been a lot settled, but there's also some battles still to be had on the pitch. But one of them that I think is going to be quite boring is Chelsea versus Everton. But am I wrong on that one, Ollie?
Yes. Look, I'm going to make the case for this not being the ball fest that I think 90% of people think it will be, right? Everton are without James
What the hell
Tarkowski.
does that say?
Everton are without James Tarkowski, right? Man City accumulated 0.2 XG when he was on the pitch for 52 minutes. When he went off and Michael Keane came on, they conceded 1.9 XG in 40 minutes or whatever it was, right? So Tarkowski is the most important player in that Everton team, and he's injured. Now, that's not to say Chelsea are, on any kind of form at all. In fact, I'd go as far as to say Maresca is a shite manager. Cole Palmer's not scored a goal in 3 months, right? Since mid-January. Why on earth they signed Kane and Dewsbury Hall and Kunku, all these attacking players, and then they've got Cole Palmer sat there, one of the best players in the Premier League, and they can't get a tune out of him because they're playing this system where they just rotate the ball constantly. They've got all this attacking talent on the bench and they can't find a way to get any of them picking up some of the slack while your main man's out of form. I don't see Maresca as a manager who's going to take Chelsea anywhere. However, I do think Chelsea will win this, but I don't know if they'll finish in the top 5. I think he's got a shite manager and I think they need to get rid of him.
They're not posh enough to be on the beach. They're on Bramley-Moore Dock. But Everton, past 8 games, 5 of them have ended 1-1. Like I could easily see this game being 1-1. I feel like the bookies don't like Chelsea at the minute.
Yeah,
they're putting a lot of value on Chelsea, which is good if you're backing Chelsea to win. But I wouldn't feel confident in doing that, even though every single stat is better than Everton's. Obviously, Moyes has this kind of Vibes FC thing going on at the moment. I don't know when that wears off. Does the honeymoon for Moyes wear off?
I think Chelsea's home form hasn't been that bad, actually. It hasn't been. They have been winning games at home. It's away from home where they're really bad.
But they're struggling to create a little bit, I would say. They're in danger of struggling to create. And Everton only concede 1.25 XG per game on average, which is a decent record. Chelsea creating 1.5, which isn't great for a top team. I've gone actually under 2.5.
Wow.
And I'm also going to back, as I am going to back Death and Taxes, a Caicedo foul. Yes. He's about 1 to 10 as well.
One player who I'd like to highlight who has been trying to pick up the slack since Cole Palmer's dropped off so massively is Pedro Neto. He obviously scored the winner against Fulham at the weekend. He's averaged 1.5 shots on target across his last 5 games, and I think he's pretty nailed in that Chelsea team now. So I fancy him to have a shot on target in this one. I think Chelsea will obviously dominate the ball and they'll be plugging away at that Everton defence. I've gone with Chelsea double chance, under 4 goals in the game. Pedro Neto shot on target.
So, Ollie, I like your pick of Pedro Neto, a little bit outside the box. My one for this game is Ndiaye. I think he's one to watch for this Chelsea versus Everton match. He's tricky on the ball. He's had the 3rd most successful dribbles in the Premier League this season. And I think Chelsea, they have been a little bit humbled in recent games, Ipswich they conceded 2, Legia Warsaw they conceded 2, and they were very lucky with that victory against Fulham. So I'm going to go double chance for Chelsea because I'm not sure if they'll get the result. I'm going to do an Ndiaye shot on target, both teams to score, and the death taxes and all that. Sam, what's this Caicedo foul? Bournemouth, Manchester United is the next one that we need to cover. And the Cherries are huge favourites on the AI for this. Is that right, though, Sam? You're the resident Man United fan here. What do you want to say on this one?
I think it is right. I think they're heavy favourites because they've got an outside chance of European football still. United have literally nothing to play for in the league. We'll be going all out in the Europa, so we'll probably see a couple of youngsters playing as well. And we saw how that turned out against Wolves, where United just toothless, couldn't really be arsed. Kind of the usual United symptoms these days. Interestingly, I found United have scored more goals than Bournemouth across the last 10 games. Obviously a smallish sample size, but we tend to take more shots as well. However, being away from home, I'm not confident at all. The only thing that gives me a bit of hope is the Bournemouth sort of talisman have fallen off a little bit in terms of their form. the only man firing at the moment is Ivan Ilson. Clivert, Semenyo, everyone else has dropped off a little bit, which could be a symptom of having such a high pressing, high energy style of football. Fingers crossed that is what it is, and they're all fatigued, and United can get a result. But I definitely wouldn't be backing it. In fact, I'm going to be backing a Bournemouth win, and I'm going to be backing an Ugarte foul, who you can lump in that same bracket as Caicedo, unless Ollie bets on it, in which case he doesn't come in.
No, look, Bournemouth have tailed off. There's no doubt about it. But the XG numbers are still really good. They're still creating really good XG, and they're conceding,
Football's played on the pitch,
a
mate.
decent. The XG numbers conceded are decent as well. And I would say that this Man United side, not only is it the worst for several generations, but it's also the easiest side to play against in the entire Premier League if you take away the relegated three. If you want one fixture this week, it's Man United at home.
All right, well, the last 10 games, Bournemouth generated 1.84 XG, United 1.82. So
But
not far off. United have
United's-
scored more, and Bournemouth have conceded 1.45 XG, United 1.38.
United have played Ipswich and Leicester in that time. United's last 4 results in the Premier
Bournemouth
League.
have played
they lost
Palace,
1-0.
Fulham, West Ham, and Ipswich as well.
They lost 1-0, 0-0, lost 4-1, and lost 1-0. United did. I think Bournemouth will win this. I don't think it'll be pretty. In fact, the reverse fixture is 3-0. I don't think it'll be that one-sided, but I think Bournemouth win this 2-0.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it. I've got to argue my case, though.
Also, those United stats include the Europa League, where they put 5 past Lyon. If you looked at the Premier League stats, I think it'd tell quite a different story.
Yeah,
You're just constantly moving the goalposts here for United.
They scored 7 against Lyon over 2 legs.
Exactly, absolute monsters.
I think the one to watch in this game, you've highlighted him, Sam, even Ilse. Bournemouth have been kind of bubbling under the surface, as Ollie's pointed out, with good underlying data. But he's now the one kind of answering those questions. 4 goals in his last 6 appearances. His statistics have been great. Looking at the strike, he's topped the table for shots in the box and XG in the 6 most recent Premier League games. So for my picks, it's a Bournemouth win. Even Elson shot on target as he's managing 1.1 per 90. But I think he's even going to score, but I think that's a little bit too rich for my blood. And then, as you say, Sam, Ugarte, it's just a certainty. 1.4 fouls per 90. That's the one that you got to stick it on.
What about Bruno Fernandes?
Not away from home.
He's loss of form. He had a hat-trick of goal involvements in Gameweek 29, but since then, 4 games without any contributions. And I think it's not just him, it's the whole Manchester United team had just kind of really been struggling with chances. It can't all be on him, and it has been on him for most of the season. And he's probably fatigued as well. We talked about Bournemouth there being fatigued because of Iriola's kind of tactics. But Fernandes must be mentally and physically.
We say that. We've said that for the past 5 years. The man is a cyborg. We've talked about this before. Available for so many games, always giving high energy. Even when there's a clip of the players entering the hotel, he's behind someone giving them a bollocking and high pressing the waiting staff. He's just all over it.
The problem for me is he's playing too deep. When United are dominating the ball at Old Trafford, I expect him to have a shot on target, but away from home, you're relying on free kicks and that kind of thing, and I don't fancy it.
The biggest thing is that United will be focusing on the Europa League. There's nothing more to it. They literally won't be asked about this game.
No.
So turning it to the Liverpool versus Spurs game, and I'm going to say this before we do any analysis. Cricket match scoreline? Question to you both. Is this going to be an absolute goal fest? As an Arsenal fan, I'm praying for it. But what does the data tell us, Ollie?
Well, we all know that Liverpool, their attacking numbers have dropped off. I mean, Salah's now, there was a stage in the season where he was averaging 3 shots on target per game when he was scoring every single week. He's now averaging, over the last 10, he's averaging less than a shot on target per game. He's become more creative, but I think Liverpool as a general attack have dropped off a little bit. However, Spurs at Anfield, I mean, since 1999, they've played 28 times. They've won once, drawn 7. So they don't like going there. Last time they went there, they got spanked 4-0. Look, I expect Liverpool to wrap up the title here. Liverpool to win this game, no doubt about it. I don't even see Spurs scoring. They have scored in all their recent games, but just look at that attack and it stinks, man. It really does stink. I think it'll be another professional performance from Liverpool. I think they'll grind it out. They're not playing at the best, but they've got the experience. They know what they're doing.
I completely agree. I feel like it might not be the mauling that everyone's expecting, because both of these teams' XG conceded is quite low as of the last sort of 10 games. And I think that is in part to players sort of dropping off and tailing off towards the end of the season. Like you say, Ollie, Salah's form has dropped off. So I don't think they're going to win 4-5-0 again. That 4-0 in the Carabao Cup was actually depressing, even as a neutral, quote unquote neutral, because obviously I'm a United fan. To see them rock up to, was it the quarters or semis?
Yeah, quarters, I think it was.
And think, right, this is the one chance at a trophy. And then they got
got
absolutely
spanned, didn't
rolled
they?
over. It was men against boys. And I don't think it will actually look like that, because I think Salah's dropped off a little bit. A lot of the key players have. But I do think it'll be just the most comfortable textbook rolling win, sealing the title. It'll be a 2-0, but one of those 2-0s where it just looked like
Yeah.
Tottenham are not going to offer anything in return. There's not going to be any return shots fired, is there?
Look, we might as well just keep it simple with this one. Liverpool to win.
And you'll get pretty shit odds on that.
There's two types of bets, mate. Winning bets and losing bets. And Liverpool to beat Tottenham is a winning bet.
I just think that there is going to be a bit of a goal fest here. I think it's one clean sheet in the last 10 games for the Spurs. It's absolutely abysmal kind of data there. I'm putting Liverpool to win to 0, over 2.5 goals, McAllister foul, and I'm going to go with this, Salah to have a goal involvement. So,
Wow.
yes, he's not been on form recently, but Spurs are Spurs. They're on par with like Manchester United as one of the worst teams at the moment, absolutely falling apart. Their sole focus is going to be the Europa League. And so I see Salah getting that goal involvement. But for now, I'm going to wish everybody the best of luck. Do get involved with the comments. Tell us what your bets are going to be. Have we missed something? Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Share the video as well, because we're not selfish here. We like to share the winnings. And do check out the Numbers Game website as well. All this data is free for the Premier League, but there's some great offers on some memberships as well. But for now, we're wishing you the best of luck for Game Week 34, and we will see you very soon.
Jason again, ole ole.
I can't believe you went with Liverpool to win by 3 or 4 goals, basically. Over 2.5 to win to 0. I love that.
Yes.
That's the first Arsenal pick ever, isn't it?
Spurs,